to estimate the Gini coefficient. In 2021, the Gini coefficient was 0.3991, an increase from 0.3671 in 2009. For comparison, South Africa has the highest Gini coefficient globally of 0.63, while Norway has the lowest at 0.22. The last available figure for Trinidad was 0.43, and for Barbados, 0.47. So, Madam Speaker, step by step, this administration is creating a social safety net to protect the vulnerable, but also to create a more equal society. Madam Speaker, today, I'm pleased to announce that the government will establish the Jamaica 60 Hope for Children Trust Fund. Madam Speaker, the purpose of the fund is to help to close the wealth gap and address the issue of intergenerational poverty by creating a trust account specifically catered to vulnerable children. The Hope for Children Trust Fund will provide each eligible child with a long-term savings account funded through annual contributions from the government. Parents, guardians, and other donors will also be able to make deposits into the account for the future benefit of any specific child. The accumulated funds, including interest, will be accessible on or after the child's 18th birthday for specific purposes such as education, to purchase a home or commercial property, or invest in business. Madam Speaker, any child in Jamaica born on or after the 60th anniversary of our independence, that is August 6, 2022, who is part of the PATH program, meaning that they are born into a PATH household, or they are a ward of the state, will be eligible for this trust. Madam Speaker, the central idea behind the program is to provide children with a lump sum to start them in life upon attaining adulthood. Our initial target is a lump sum of between $600,000 and $800,000 to be available on the 18th birthday of any eligible child. Madam Speaker, we will also explore alternatives to establish and manage this program. It could be part of the National Insurance Fund, or we may consider having private insurance companies administer the fund. Madam Speaker, this is, I believe, a groundbreaking initiative. To truly, a groundbreaking initiative, to truly grapple with inequality in the society. Madam Speaker, from a historical perspective, there are many households who have no endowments in Jamaica, meaning that they can't look towards anything bequeathed to them from their family. There is no asset being passed down to them from generations. The only way that they are able to create any wealth is through their labor, through the dint of their effort, literally pulling themselves up by their bootstrap. Some people will be able to do that. Some people are driven and can do that. But, Madam Speaker, there are a large number of Jamaicans who are not able to do that. Madam Speaker, every Jamaican would understand this, that you have a family of 4 or 5 siblings. One sibling is given the opportunity to go off to college or go to school. The rest don't get the opportunity. Usually the older one and the second one is sacrificed for the 2 younger ones. They go off, they get an education, they get income, they can buy houses, and their children do better. Whilst the children of the 2 who were held behind don't get a chance. And this is a story repeated over and over and over in Jamaica. Now, the government has a duty, a responsibility. Absolutely. That as we grow, as our economy grows, we take instrumental and decisive steps to break intergenerational poverty, to correct structural inequalities, the intention here is great. The amount may be considered small, but it is the first step in the right direction to truly create a more equitable society. Consider what this will do. Now, there are children at 18, they have left high school now, they are going to transition, they're going to go to university. They don't need student loan. Their parents can draw a check and pay for their education. In fact, they will probably not go to university in Jamaica, they'll go overseas. All right, so they are going to get access to the best quality education there is. Their opportunities in life, their life chances are much better coming from those households. Now, there are a few children who are coming from poor households who will get scholarships because they're just naturally brilliant. And so they will transition. There are those who are coming from lower middle income households who will definitely have to depend on the student loan, which is why we have to make it so easy for kids to get the student loan. Their life chances will improve, but they will step into the world of work with some burden, student loan burden. But they're likely to do well in school, they will get a good job, and over time, they will be able to clear that burden. But you have some really poor households, like kids who we have established on the park households and those that aren't on it, which we have to get on it, that even if they were to get into university and even if they got a student loan, it is still a struggle, a real struggle. And their life chances are never going to compare to the life chances of households that have greater wealth. And if this is allowed to continue, in Jamaica, you will always have the two Jamaicas. You will have some who will just transition, a few transition. You will never create a middle class. Right? And you will have a society where you have a few people up here who feel they are entitled. Who feel that they must control everything.
Entitled.
So, Madam Speaker, I couldn't come from the circumstance of a single mother where she struggled to send me to school.
He's privileged. He's privileged.
Struggled to go through university. Understand the issues of the society. And not do something to correct. So, Madam Speaker, to use a football analogy, through the diligent work and sacrifice of many, Jamaica is now at World Cup level economic performance. World Cup level. 20 consecutive quarters of economic growth before COVID and 10 consecutive quarters of economic growth after COVID. Record unemployment of 4.2%, 156,000 new jobs created since 2016. In 2023, we had a record 4 million tourist arrivals. 4 million tourist arrivals. Over $4.2 billion US in tourism earnings. And we are set to break that record in 2024. In the first 2 months of 2024, we are already at 1 million tourist arrivals. Can you imagine? And $1 billion in revenues. You know, talk all you want, you know, Madam Speaker. We have a world-class tourism minister. All three global rating agencies, Standard & Poor's, Moody's, and Fitch, have upgraded Jamaica's credit rating to the highest level in our history. And Madam Speaker, Jamaica's corruption perception index is at the best level in our history, and certainly better than under the former PNP administration. And me say so is Transparency International say so. Madam Speaker, a win for Jamaica is a win for everyone. So, Madam Speaker, when Jamaica is winning, don't bad mind our victory. While this government is delivering tangible results, the truth is that the opposition has no plan to uplift the people of Jamaica. Their whole strategy is destabilization through noise and distraction by playing upon grievance politics. They say they would increase the threshold to $3 million, and they make a bag of other promises. We still have not heard how they would finance them. I Jamaicans, I say to all Jamaicans, take the budgets.
Mental health issues can be difficult. Don't suffer in silence. Speak up now. Do your share. The time by the Ministry of Health and Wellness is 6:45 p.m.
So you read through them and ask yourself, who is going to pay for them? How much will it cost? When you see our budget, we tell you, we're going to do this. This is what it costs. Here is where it comes from. Hype, no substance. Madam Speaker, I know that members on that side feel left out. It is a rough position to be in. I have been there, but they shouldn't allow bad mind and carry feelings to lead to desperation for power. One day, they agree with something. Yes. Then a few months later, if it is not political expedient, they change their minds. That is not leadership. We call that flip-flopping. The opposition supported and seconded the Speaker's nomination. Then they switched flip-floppers. The opposition initially proposed, and supported salary increases for politicians. Then they switched flip-floppers. They all took their pay increases anyway, every single one of them. Just for the record, as Prime Minister, I did not take any salary increase. Madam Speaker, and I want it to be absolutely clear. Because when I stand up and say to the public sector workers and to other workers, listen, we must have a partnership for productivity. I can stand with a free conscience and say that I held strain as a leader of the country. I understand the issues, and I lead by example. I have to hold it. That is what leaders have to do. Some will say, I will take it, and then I will decide how to. The opposition supported the states of public emergency, and then all of a sudden, they don't support it. How can Jamaica have any trust in people who will just sway with the wind, whose word means nothing? What they say today, they resile from tomorrow. Jamaica cannot afford unstable, unprincipled leadership. We have been there, and we are done with that. Madam Speaker, Jamaicans want better lives. They need a team that has been winning for Jamaica. A team that is tried, tested, and has delivered tangible results. Madam Speaker, I think you would like to hear this one. Madam Speaker, a former Prime Minister of Jamaica said it takes cash to care. Another Prime Minister said, we put people first. For decades, the country has debated and oscillated between these two competing philosophies. As a student of history, I believe both philosophies have merit, but neither by themselves is complete. The people of Jamaica want us to put these two philosophies together, and that is what my administration is doing. We are building a caring economy for all. We are generating the cash to care. We are generating the cash to put people first. Madam Speaker, we put people first. This is why we have invested in our public sector workers. This is why we have removed the hard fees. This is why we have removed guarantors for student loans. This is why we are giving a $200 million grant to tertiary students. This is why we have allocated $1.9 billion to continue the construction of classrooms and sanitary facilities. This is why we have created the social pension programs, which, by the way, we have increased by 65%. This is why we have increased pension benefits. This is why we have created the social housing program. This is why we are increasing the PATH program by 30%. This is why we have the Hope for Children Trust Fund. This is why we have allocated $20 billion for the Spark program for local roads. Madam Speaker, we have done so much, Madam Speaker. But we acknowledge and we know that we need to do more. And the people of Jamaica have my commitment that I will continue to work very hard in your service to get more done. The government has demonstrated that we are not about empty promises. We have the capacity to deliver, and we will deliver. Madam Speaker, I close with the words of the good book, which always serves as a source of guidance and inspiration. I say to my parliamentary colleagues and to the people of Jamaica, let us not become weary in doing good. For at the proper time, we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Jamaica has been involved in a long struggle. Literally, we have been in the wilderness for 40 years. We are now beginning to see the realization of the true destiny of the Jamaican people, to live in peace, to be productive, and to be prosperous. May God bless you, and may God bless Jamaica land.
Yes. Big time. Brilliant.
My friend. Listen.
Brilliantamente.
Oh. Listen. Madam Speaker.
For those who are all standing in the gallery, please take your seat. We are almost at the end of the parliamentary session. Please take your seat.
Madam Speaker, as I was trying to move expeditiously through my presentation, there is a very important part of the speech, Madam Speaker, which I neglected to present. And as I search through the presentation, Madam Speaker, I will make it. Madam Speaker, we have last year increased the minimum wage. Thought that one would skip you. Madam Speaker, I'm pleased to announce a further increase to the minimum wage. Effective the 1st of June, the national minimum wage will increase from 13,000 per 40-hour week to 15,000 representing a 15% increase. Madam Speaker, we had also signaled last year that we intended to do away with this business of having different minimum wages for our industrial security guards and everyone else. The minimum wage for the industrial security guard will move from 14 per week to 15,000 per week, and this will take effect from June 1, 2023. Madam Speaker, the increase in the minimum wage represents a 15% adjustment. We thought about it very carefully and thought it was necessary to do to keep the working class and our poorest abreast with inflation. Madam Speaker, we have to look out for the poor and most vulnerable in the society. And you know, Madam Speaker, as we campaigned and we moved around the island, it was clear that many of our working poor were having it really difficult. A young lady, during the campaign, she stopped me. We were in Rosetown, and she said, "Prime Minister, you can't increase the minimum wage." And I said to her, "But we just increased the minimum wage."